Welcome back to another Q&A, guys. So the first question this week comes from Tom, my man, my client. He asked me, what do I look at to know whether we are making progress a lot? Because, this muscle gain thing takes a while. And, we would like to kind of adjust our program and stuff like that more regularly than like every year or so to know if we've made progress. So what do I kind of look at to make those decisions and to know if our program's actually working? And this is tough. Like, for one, I would say we know your program's working if you're getting closer to your goals. So for most of the people I work with, our goals are mostly physique oriented, and if we gain a little bit of strength too, that's cool. So we know our program's working if we're building muscle. And how do we know if we're building muscle? Well, that's tricky. I think that the number one way to know if you've built muscle is, okay, look at yourself 1 or 2 years ago at a similar body weight. Do you look more muscular in photos or leaner? If yes, your program's working. I think that's the number one way to know whether you're making progress is year over year, are you looking better? Okay, but if we just keep the same program for a year, that means that we could be doing a program that doesn't work for a year. So in the meantime, what do we got to do there, And I don't think that there's a perfect solution to this. Like, all body measurement methods of checking your body composition are going to have some error. And since we're trying to pick up such small changes in body composition in a few months, then that little bit of error is going to make a big deal. And just that error alone, you're not really going to know whether you're moving in the right direction or not. Now, in the time course of 3 to 5 months, if I think that taking a waist measurement and looking at photos over the course of 3 to 5 months, if your waist is going up and you don't look like any more muscular in photos and your performance isn't going great, then we might need to readjust things a little bit. However, if you're going through a gaining phase and your performance is going pretty well, we're seeing some increases in your waist, but we're also looking more muscular and feeling more muscular and stuff like that, then I would say things are going about right. They look like they're heading in the right direction. But that's tricky too, because differences in lighting can change how you look in photos and stuff, and differences in what we're eating and water content and stuff like that can make assessing that really difficult as well. And waist measurements, that's tough too, because if you had a bigger meal the night before, it could be a little bit more. And if you're off by just a few centimeters or just a small difference, then when we're trying to measure small differences, that can be a big deal. So that's not perfect either, which is why it kind of leads me to using a lot of these indicators that Dr. Mike talks about, in our training, using our pumps, using our soreness, using the subjective difficulty of our sessions to help keep us in the ballpark of our minimum effective volume and the most amount of volume that we can actually recover from. And you kind of have to trust that as long as we are in that ballpark and our weight's heading in the right direction at the right rate, our performance is looking pretty good in the gym, then that's about what we can do to get things moving in the right direction. So to know if a program's working or not, it's probably going to be looking at your physique year over year to see if it's changing. But in the meantime, I do like to use the indicators of, okay, let's make sure that we don't have overlapping soreness between sessions. Let's make sure that our sessions still feel challenging and we have some signs of overload, some signs of fatigue, some signs of, hey, we are causing a stimulus for growth. But like I said, not overlapping soreness, not decreasing performance and stuff like that. And as long as we are in the ballpark with those areas and we're gaining weight at a reasonable rate here, then we can kind of reasonably say that, hey, things are probably heading in the right direction. And, I know that's not a perfect answer, but I really think that right now is like the best kind of approach that we have to handle that question. All right. So hopefully that helps out. Question number 2. Do you think college is worth it for personal training? So I would say that there's a very good likelihood that everything that I learned in college that I could very well have learned on my own. And I would say that if I didn't go to college, would I probably be in a similar position that I am now? I would like to think so. Now, does having a master's degree in exercise science provide me a little bit more credibility? Yeah, I think so. Did college serve a nice role of, let's just kind of delay this real life thing until I have a better idea of what I'm going to do with my life? Yeah, I think that that's like the biggest role that college played in my life. Did I also meet some really cool people and have some really awesome professors and learn a lot and really build a better foundation of basic like anatomy and physiology and how the body works and biomechanics and stuff like that? Yeah, absolutely. Do I need all that to be a good trainer and coach? Not if I take ownership of my learning and learn this stuff on my own. So I think it really depends on the person and the context, where it's like, if you have a good understanding of things and like you can look at other resources like Menno Henselman's guide or course, or Mac Nutrition has like a certification, like I'm sure that those are great, and those might actually be more specific to what you kind of want to do day to day, coaching physique athletes and stuff like that. And it depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to go the strength and conditioning route, like working with teams and stuff, then I would say going the college route and working with a university, trying to get experience, working with a team, like that could be really beneficial. Also, there's more and more programs now. They're a little bit few and far between that are more specifically focused on physique and stuff like that. So like Schoenfeld's got a degree program for that sort of thing. Even at my university, one of our coaches, and I went to the University in Northern Iowa, one of my professors was a coach at Renaissance Periodization. So I totally lucked out there. So he just kind of got the whole bodybuilding scene and stuff like that. And I think like Cody Hahn's lab, like if you want to do research, then absolutely college is probably what you're going to need to do there. But it really does depend on the individual. Can you do it without college? 100%. I'm totally certain of that. Can you be a good coach without college? Yeah, 100%. Are there benefits to going to college that maybe are less so the specific exercise science knowledge you learn? Yeah, I think that there are benefits, like I mentioned, of being around cool people, throwing ideas off of different people, learning like a really good foundation of the science behind nutrition and stuff like that. Like I had sports nutrition classes with Dr. Susan Kleiner, and she's like the OG of sports nutrition. Like she really knows her shit. And I think that a lot of that stuff, it still helps me today. So I think that there are benefits to it, but it really depends on your situation and what you want to do with it. So a little bit of a wishy-washy answer, I'm not going to lie, but hopefully that kind of helps provide a little bit of direction on my experience with it, all right? Question number 3, what's a common trait among successful clients? So the number one thing is being, I would say, persistent as well as consistent. So no matter what happens, no matter whether you get derailed, for a week, or whether you have shit go on and you go off course, that you get back on track, you don't lose sight of your goals and what you wanted to do with this thing, and you keep moving forward no matter what happens. Like, I've got a client right now that he's going through more stuff than like I could kind of imagine, and has there been weeks to where the fitness thing just wasn't a priority? Absolutely. But he has stayed persistent. He's still moving things in the right direction. Would progress be a little bit faster if each and every week was 100% consistency? Yeah, of course it would be. But are we still going to get to where he wants to be? Because no matter what's going on with his life, which is some shit, yes, he's still going to get to where he wants to go because he's just being persistent and he's not giving up on where he wants to be. That's like the number one thing. It's just, hey, if you get derailed, that's okay. Let's move forward. If you go off your diet, if you totally binge, if things just go haywire for an entire week, that's okay. We have one decision if we want to get to where you want to be, and that's keep moving towards your goals no matter what happened, and trying to do things that prevent that from happening in the future, and taking too many steps back in the future to where it's preventing us from actually making progress towards our goals. And then, like I said, consistency. I'm sure you guys have all heard this. Sticking to your diet over the long term. So that comes back to kind of being persistent. But I really think that at the end of the day, that's the number one thing. When stuff goes haywire, which it's okay if it does. Most of my clients have slip-ups here and there. But when that happens, how do you respond to that? And do you get back onto your goals and try to future-proof that from happening again? Or do you throw in the towel? And if you don't throw in the towel, you're going to be successful in getting to where you want to be. So I would say that is the number one thing. All right. So the fourth and final question here is, how do I structure my leg training considering I don't train them very often? So yeah, for those of you that don't know, I'm pretty cool with where my legs are at. Like, everybody could use some more glutes, of course, but other than that, like, I don't care a ton about how much more my legs have grown or how much more they grow. And the way that I structure my training right now, at least currently, is I basically have one main leg session per week. I'm a total bro, I know, but what I'm doing right now is I'll be like chest and back on Monday, and I'll do some leg isolation, so a little bit of glute isolation, a little bit of quad and hamstring isolation, so really quick, just supersetting them and just a little bit. And then on Tuesday, it's pretty much arms and delts. And on Wednesday, legs, but compounds. And then Thursday, chest and back. Friday, arms, delts, and then legs isolation. So I really don't think it's that like unoptimal from a leg standpoint, because I am still like hitting them a few times a week. But I would say that if I wanted potentially better gains, I would probably do compounds at least a couple times a week for my legs. But with where I'm at right now, my upper body's more of a focus. And I don't think I've said this to you guys yet, but I think that, I'm not going to say it. I'll have an announcement here in a couple months. Nothing's like changing for you guys, don't worry. But I think I'll have some things to discuss here in not too long. All right, so good on that, guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, just give me a holler, and I'd be happy to help you out. All right, I'll see you in that next one, guys. Appreciate you watching.